brand new king, King Charles, as we know, came really out of his way during that wedding by his youngest son to support their family, the Markle family. As it's now been revealed, it was him, alongside Her Majesty the Queen, who suggested, according to Meghan at least, that it might be a good idea for them to contact her father, Thomas Markle. I might clear this point up that, there was never a question of a letter. It was make some communication with him. The whole idea of the letter really stemmed from Miss Markle and her communications team at that time. So for them to place that back on Her Majesty and King Charles, once again, is a bit of a refutable claim. But, as we've often said here on the show, the narrative never normally fits their absolute story, does it? But what's interesting here is that, according to a very good source close to Prince Charles at that time, he was absolutely baffled and really, confused and amazed at meeting Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland. And as ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. Nice to see you. Hope you're all keeping well. Yes, Happy New Year to all of those concerned, whatever we're doing. I know we're edging into that moment now, aren't we, where you're thinking, now, what is this new year going to bring? Try and remain positive is my motto. Always look for the bright side, whatever you're doing. Even it's just treating yourself a little bit, as I often say, put your feet up, grab a book, look out the window, think of all the good things that you've got around you. Even if you're snuggling up with a blanket and a hot water bottle, at least you're warm. Do you know what I'm saying? This is a problem, though, as I often say here on the show, regarding particular stories, because it's fascinating when you think that when Doria came over for the wedding, she seemingly had absolutely no one to sit with. I mean, it really highlighted just what a vast barren of non-family Meghan had. And then all of those guests that she didn't truly know, like George and Amal Clooney and, the Beckhams who she briefly met through Harry. You've got to remember, as I say, when Meghan came over to London, she was desperate to become part of the celebrity culture, even reaching out to this particular man. Yes, that's right, a former X Factor star, Matt Cardle, trying to get a few dates with him. He was very revealing, let me tell you. But what's fascinating here, I find, as ever, is that the king, or Prince Charles as he was then, truly did his very best to welcome in Doria. But according to that good source, she wasn't having anything of it. In fact, according to that source, Doria spoke very, very little, seemingly so frightened to say anything wrong, get the wrong picture, say the wrong thing, whichever way you look at it. Incredible when you think. And then, of course, as you can see from various pictures of that and other events, the King, Prince Charles, tried his best to incorporate her and wanted to try and get some bonding connection. If this was going to be the main family member that he was going to be dealing with in the future, he felt this was vital and, of course, imperative to do so. But at every corner, according to that good source, and as ever we say allegedly, she wasn't having it. He didn't really find out too much about her at all, which again raised a bit of an eyebrow, particularly from Prince Charles. He couldn't understand, well, even the most banal of conversations she didn't wish to enter in on. As we saw on that recent Netflix documentary, she suddenly had a voice and came alive. Whether that was written for her, memorized, media trained, whichever way you look at it, according to another source who's currently very close to the king, that's not the sort of person that King Charles met those few years ago. So what has happened? How has that person suddenly evolved to become such a valued speaker, have so many thoughts, when seemingly at that point she was like some sort of shrinking mouse violet? And as a source pointed out to me, a person that King Charles simply did not recognize for his very brief time with her, albeit he tried his very best to get on with her. As ever, I'd love to know what you think to this particular story in the comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.